Going live in 3. All right, what is going on, guys? It is Adam, aka Marf, and this is Marfoogle News. There are some crazy stories coming out today, including, of course, there's a lot going on in the world. We're going to show you some of that, and we're actually going to show you a plasma weapon that has the Pentagon shook on the show right after this. But we're going to talk about this incredible, the implications behind this story are like insane story that's coming out of CIA documents. Now, I don't know, it seems crazy to me that there are so many CIA documents that have said, talked about the Adam and Eve story, the end of the world, that have talked about, little green men in this case, but there are so many more. I mean, shape-shifting werewolves. I mean, it really, there is no limit to it. Paranormal, mind control, remote seeing. There's so many different CIA documents out there. And this one has really kind of blown my mind, talking about aliens morphing into one, 5 into 1, and turning men into stone. So to go into this, really, this is something that I'll definitely have to kind of read you this full paragraph because it's pretty big. A bone-chilling document declassified by the CIA has exposed an alleged massacre by aliens from a crashed UFO who turned an entire military unit into stone. According to the report, Soviet troops shot down a flying saucer hovering over the Soviet military unit in Siberia roughly 35 years ago. And what happened next was truly terrifying. In the document summarizing a 250-page top-secret file acquired by U.S. intelligence agents, eyewitness said that 5 aliens climbed out of their wrecked craft, combined themselves into one creature, exploded in a burst of intense energy, and turned 23 soldiers into solid rock. One CIA official referred to the shocking battle as a horrific picture of revenge on the part of the extraterrestrial creatures, a picture that makes one's blood freeze. The agency added that the extremely menacing case proved that the aliens who visited Earth possessed weapons and technology far beyond U.S. government's assumptions, suggesting that they were already aware of the aliens' existence. The unearthed document, declassified in 2000, was recently a topic of AI or Evil podcast where Josh Hooper revealed that the 2 soldiers at the UFO crash site actually survived the encounter. However, the 23 petrified soldiers could not be saved. Their remains and debris from the spacecraft were reportedly moved to a top-secret research base near Moscow. And even more detail of the CIA file is description of the aliens reportedly involved in this massacre has been mentioned in UFO reports and sightings for nearly 80 years, essentially stating that these are the same ones that a lot of us have seen, right? And I'm not quoting directly. I've seen stuff in the sky. I've never seen one in person. Now, one of the things I thought was extremely interesting is the fact that they described them. Let me find the part where it says merged into a single object that acquired a spherical shape. Then the object began to buzz and hiss sharply and then became brilliant white. In a few seconds, the spheres grew much bigger and exploded by flaring up with an extremely bright light. At that very instant, 23 soldiers who had stood in the watched the phenomenon turned into stone poles. Only 2 soldiers who stood in the shade and were less exposed to the luminous explosion survived. The KGB report goes on to say that the remains of the UFO and the petrified soldiers were transferred to a secret scientific research institution near Moscow. Specialists assume that a source of energy that is still unknown to Earthlings instantly changed the structure of the soldiers' living organisms, having transformed it into a substance whose molecular composition is no different than that of limestone. So, again, if you think about some of the biblical stories that have been told over the last, millennia, about, men being turned into stone, Sodom and Gomorrah, and even legends like Medusa, it actually makes you think, it makes you wonder, what the heck is out there? Now, of course, a lot of people will just poo-poo this and you just kind of scoff it off. But at this point in 2025, who would be surprised by anything at this point? It is truly wild, claims like this. What do you think about it? Let me know in the comments down below. I would love to hear your stories as well. You can also go to marfooglenews.com to our MFN tips. If you have a story, any kind of story, even if it's regarding being abducted by aliens, put it in the anonymous tips line. Again, you can put your email if you want us to follow up with you. That is up at marfooglenews.com/tips. All right. Now, we're going to go on to the next story here, and there's a lot going on in, of course, the geopolitics of the world. And, of course, World War III is definitely the topic of the day as far as this week, really, this month. So we'll talk about that here in a second. Before we do, though, there is a very, very exclusive giveaway going on with our family only. Again, this is through EMP Shield, the same device that works with agencies like DHS and DoD to help protect our grid. You can actually get the same protection for home, car, truck, motorcycle, boat, generators, pretty much anything you could think of. But we have a giveaway with them. They are one of our longest running affiliates. They are one of our most trusted affiliates. We believe that this will save lives. It will allow you to get home to bug in or get out to bug out in that scenario. Again, marfooglenews.com/giveaway. You can actually win one of 5, and one lucky winner will win $1,000 at the griddown.com store. That means, of course, you could go get yourself a Grid Down Bug Out XP, or you could get some solar panels, accessories, or put a redoubt system in your home for a discount. So go over to marfooglenews.com/giveaway and make sure to go check out marfooglenews.com/EMP, because right now during this sale, they are doing one of the largest sales they've ever done, and it stacks with our $50 off discount. So again, that's all of these numbers over here. Those all stack on top of ours. All right, let's bring in my co-host/internet brother, Dex James. What is going on, and how are you doing today?
Well, hello, Adam, and hello, Foogle fam. I'm doing just fine.
So the aliens turning people into stone, that personally, I think that there's a lot of crazy stuff coming out right now, and it makes me wonder, like, are they giving us stories like that to distract and really to get our minds off of all of the craziness that's happening right now?
I think they're giving it to us because they want us to start thinking more about aliens. I mean, they've been dripping this out for the last 3 or 4 years. Seems like every week we get something UFO related. But I think it's to normalize it, and so things can maybe things will be coming out, or they'll be producing stuff, as many suspect they will do. But they also describe the description given about these aliens, or match the description that's given by many, which they refer to as the Greys. If you know what that description is.
Yeah, much like the thumb right here. Like, I mean, these aren't even a perfect description of it. Yeah, large heads with black eyes. That's just 5 short humanoids with large heads and large black eyes. The Greys, of course, everybody has a different kind of opinion if they are good or bad or nice or not. Obviously, these ones weren't. And the fact that they could combine into this plasma ball and launch these people into stone, that's very, very creepy. Oh, and it also made me think of, there's some other things. There's events like Pompeii or other events where people have turned into essentially stone. And it just makes you wonder, like, did they lie to people about certain things like that? Like, instead of a volcano or something, somehow it was some sort of cover up, and they, something like that. I know that Pompeii, of course, was caused by the lava and the ash turning people to stone. But what if there's other events where they have people like that were turned into stone? If something like this is remotely true, it is an absolute crazy story, and it's coming from a CIA doc, but it's also coming from a CIA doc that was then taken from the Russians. So it also makes you think, like, is this a back and forth kind of like propaganda thing? Or are they really trying to get us ready for some sort of aliens? And then, Dex, do you want to talk about the Dow sinks for the second day as the president's tariffs rock global markets? Now, just want to point out real quick, this isn't the lowest it's been. They had one of the biggest drops, but it was actually, in many cases, worse in the last 40 years. There were points where it had these giant drops. And again, not many people talked about those drops. They talked about everything else, but not that. Now, this president takes hold. There's a drop like this. Of course, it's big news.
Well, yeah, certainly. So the Dow went down 2,200 points, which was huge. Nasdaq down 962, and S&P down 322, according to I don't know if those were closing numbers, but those were the numbers I guess when this article was written, which probably was after 4. And look, I mean, we expect it to go down. We've expected it for a while, but here's something I heard a little bit about this, and I started to do some research on it myself. And here's one thing that I sort of it puts my mind at ease a little bit. Earlier today, Trump again pushed Powell to lower interest rates, and of course that's going to be good for all of us. If we could buy a house with less interest, or your credit card interest rates would go down, or et cetera. But the one thing that you got to think about here is this thing that he did with the tariffs is literally a light switch. He flipped it on, and when he flipped it on, the markets tanked. He can tomorrow flip it back off, and guess what? The markets will recover. They'll be like, oh, thank you, everything's back to normal, and everybody goes back to at least where they were. So think of it as a light switch. He has the ability to turn it on and off. Now, I don't think he's playing it like a light switch. I think he is turning it off, or turning it on, so to speak, because he wants something. And what he wants is the interest rates to go down. If the interest rates go down, not only does it help all of us, but it really helps the national debt and the amount of interest that we're paying on that debt load that he's got to carry. So you go, okay, well, that sucks. We're all paying the price for this. Well, let me put it in perspective. About 20% of America actually owns individual stocks of the stock market. About 21%, let me rephrase that, 21% of all the stocks in the market are actually owned by individual investors. That means the rest of it is owned by the institutions, okay, and foreign investment. And then even in that 21% of individual investors that own the stocks of America, about half of all that money is owned by the top 1%. These are people that have $13 to $15 million in value. So it's not you and me. It's not the normal America. It's basically the hedge funds of the world, the major institutions of the world, and the richest people of the world that are getting clobbered right now in the stock market. And technically, what I think he's doing is basically making them pay temporarily with this crash in the market so that he can get the interest rates down, because the Fed's going to have to react to it. And then in turn, and at the same time, he may be doing this also to bring in, as he's saying, bring jobs and change our economy here. But it's not on the backs of the American people as much as it's on the backs of the people who have the most money in the world, whether it's institutional money or the richest people that own the stocks in the stock market.
And as far as the market, we've had so many of these ups and downs. We really have to watch, and honestly, if he keeps to this, well, who is going to buckle? Is somebody going to buckle? These are just the first few days of the new ones, and we will see. We might actually see some of these countries actually buckle and things change. But either way, it doesn't change my view on what's happening right now. I mean, this is obviously, these are big moves being done. You have huge moves done by the U.S., huge moves done by Iran. We're going to talk about that here shortly. Huge moves done by China. And again, with this, Trump's trade conflict escalates as China retaliates with 34% tariffs. Again, the Chinese government said it would match President Trump's tariff and also barred a group of American companies from doing business in China. China has struck back at the president, of course, on Friday evening in Beijing in a rapid-fire series of policy announcements, including 34% across-the-board tariffs. China showed that it has no intention of backing down in the trade conflict that Mr. Trump began this week with his own steep tariffs on imports from around the world. So they're snapping back. Is this going to just keep going, or is somebody going to buckle? We're going to keep following, and if you want to keep following it, make sure to subscribe to our channel and make sure to sign up for notifications over on our website. You can find a full bibliography for every single article, tweet, video, picture, document, including that CIA doc, over on marfooglenews.com. We're going to head over to our next show. If you're in the chat, just stay there. You'll be ported over. If you do like to join us for that and you are watching the replay, all you have to do is click here. We'll see you in just a moment over on Marfoogle TV.